Hi everyone, John here from LookSmart Home Inspections in the great state of New Jersey, performing comprehensive home inspections throughout New Jersey. So I have for you today another defects video. So here are some of the defects that I found over the last few weeks doing home inspections. Not everything, of course, just some of the more maybe interesting ones. Hopefully it'll help you out when you go to look for a house yourself or trying to find some of these defects in homes that you own. So let's take a look and see what we have. Taking a look at this building, and we have this stair step crack right here through the brick veneer, and above it we have another stair step crack. Hopefully you guys will be able to see it right here coming up right under this window. Now the window is generally, this window right here is generally the weak point, and we'll see a lot of this happening, but this is a structural crack, and so is this one down here. So this is not normal settlement. We don't really expect to see this. Both cracks point in this direction. So what that means is that this portion of the building this way is settling at a faster rate than the portion of the building this way over here, so to the left. So the left portion of the building is remaining stagnant, where the right portion of the building has what we call differential movement, and is settling down at a faster rate than the left side. So right side settling, left side remaining stagnant, and that's why we have this stair step cracking. So this is a structural concern. It should be further evaluated by a structural engineer. Home inspectors in New Jersey are not engineers, but it is something that's very, very important that we're going to tell our client about, and it should just be evaluated to determine if this needs fortification or will this get worse over time. Here we have a reasonably new shower, but we have a shower pan that's cracked right through here, close to the drain, right there. Water is going to leak down in here and cause problems and damage. Now this is not the first line of defense. There should be a properly configured pan under this tile, but we don't really like to see this. This is basically a redo for this shower pan because ultimately this is going to leak. It's going to leak on through. We're in a second floor unit here, and if this leaks, it means trouble for the condo owner down below this this bathroom. So this is a must do, and I bet you when they remove these tiles to see the condition of the pan, that pan could be cracked. It could be improperly installed. We shouldn't have a shower pan cracking so soon in this newer, this is a newer shower enclosure right here. So this is definitely a problem. Here we have this pretty significant mid-wall crack right here. This is a structural crack. It's horizontal. We have a little bit of wall movement inward. And this is a crack that's caused by hydraulic pressure pushing on the exterior of this foundation walls like this. You can see that the crack was sealed at one point and then it opened up again. So this is something that a structural engineer will have to take a look at in order to determine the best course of action with fortifying the wall or installing a buttress or other means of support to fortify this wall. But it goes down the whole entire left side of the wall here. And if we took a look at the grade on the outside of the house, our grade is not sloped away. And this is primarily caused by water laying against the foundation walls along the exterior of the house. So big issue and something that an engineer is going to have to design a correction for. This is a smoke pipe from a boiler, and we see all of this water staining here, which is probably caused by condensation. So what happens as the boiler operates, that flue gases go up the chimney and they condense, and then sometimes you'll see them come out of these sections of the smoke pipe or the vent pipe here. So this could be a drafting problem, it can be a chimney problem. So this is something that you do want to not ignore. It'll go in the inspection report, and then we'll suggest that the client have a boiler inspection and chimney inspection performed to find out if this is really anything significant to worry about here. So that's something that you guys should look out for. We have some rusting and corrosion at the bottom of the electrical panel box here. And if we move up here On these terminals, we also see some corrosion on these terminals. So what happens is moisture or water enters the box from the main electrical service wire, and that usually has to do with a poor seal around the meter pan on the outside of the house. So like a really simple fix causes a lot of problems. We don't want to have moisture here inside the panel because that's an unsafe condition. So an electrical contractor should definitively determine where the moisture is coming from and make the corrective measures. And we also want him to pull a few of these breakers to see if there's any moisture behind these breakers. That's important as well, because sometimes moisture gets behind these breakers, fouls the bus bars that we can't see today. I don't know if you could see it or not, but these gutters do not have the proper pitch to the downspouts. So the gutter is installed neutral or flat, and we want a nice taper going down here to this downspout, which is located in the right corner of the house. And so we have a little bit of a belly, we have a little bit of a belly here, and the rest of it is flat or neutral. Plus the gutters are all obstructed. So the gutters are super important on homes because we don't want to have all that water coming off the roof, coming over the gutter and ending up here where it can actually enter the home, enter the basement or crawl space. There's a crawl space at this end right here. So we want to make sure that we direct all that roof water away and out and away from the building at all times. Super important for keeping water out of the basement or your crawl space. Just taking a look at the shower pan, and we see that the drain is actually at the highest portion, which doesn't make any sense. Our water is just going to go this way, collect inside the pan here, and we don't want that because it makes it vulnerable for water leakage. So whoever designed this pan or installed the pan didn't do it the correct way. Also some gaps in the corners where water can enter. Also in this corner right here, some gaps that need to be sealed up, and also in the wall intersection or junction. So the shower pan really should be redone because we have water it's not going to drain properly. Here we have a gas water heater, natural vent water heater venting into the chimney, which alone is its own problem, but this is something else. Over here we have an open chimney thimble here. So right here, we just have a rag stuffed in there. So what can happen here is obviously carbon monoxide coming up through the smoke pipe from the chimney, from the water heater entering the chimney, and then can exit and come into the living space through this open thimble right here. So that is no bueno, and that for sure has to be corrected because this is an unsafe condition. We also don't want the water heater venting alone in the chimney, because the BTU of the water heater is not sufficient enough to exhaust the gas properly, the toxic gas, carbon monoxide, and other products of combustion inside this chimney. So there's two fixes here. We can either reline this chimney with a metal liner that's properly sized to vent the water heater alone, or we can replace this water heater, this natural draft water heater, with a high efficiency water heater that would vent out the sidewall using PVC pipes, and that would alleviate the need for this masonry chimney right here. So that's the choices that we have, and I already related that to the customer, and he or she will decide what we're going to do with this. I always call out dryer vents that are this low to a deck or this low to the grade, because snow and ice can cover this dryer vent. Your clothes won't dry, carbon monoxide won't exhaust if you have a propane or a gas dryer, and it's really an unsafe condition. The dryer vent at a minimum should be at least 12 inches or a foot off the deck or the level of the grade. So this is something that you do want to clear out if you have something like this, or try to raise that dryer vent to make it safer. Same renovated house here. We have this bathroom on an outside wall. We have no heating unit at all in this bathroom, no way to heat this bathroom. So very cold days, we have the possibility of the pipes freezing behind this wall here. So that's something I'm going to recommend to the customer, is that we want to install a heating unit in the bathroom Each bathroom should have its own appropriate source of heating to improve occupant comfort, of course, and to also avoid the possibility of freezing pipes behind the walls. This is a laundry area in a flip house. So we have our laundry connection here, both hot and cold, one-touch mixing valve. Here's our gas connection right here, GFCI here. But what are we missing? What are we missing? We're missing a dryer vent discharge pipe. So there's no place here to vent the dryer. So what do they forget? They forgot the very important dryer vent. So that's going to have to be installed. We don't want the dryer obviously venting to the inside where it can cause mold damage, moisture damage, and be an unsafe condition and also a fire hazard. Not to mention we have a gas dryer, so that has to vent to the outside, a carbon monoxide health issue. So this definitely is something that is important. There's no dryer vent installed here, and one has to be installed for sure. This is an air return for the second floor unit that also heats and cools the finished attic or upper floor here. So air return right here in this stairwell. But look what happens here. So if we come down here, this is the second floor, and we close this door, right? So with that attic door closed, or that third floor door closed, there's no way for the air to return from these bedrooms to get to that return in that third floor. So what I'm going to recommend is that a return be installed somewhere, hopefully in this ceiling, hopefully, and that'll help alleviate inefficient HVAC conditions in this second floor of this house, because that air is not going to be able to return properly. Another fix that we might be able to do is install a louver style door here, and that would also help that air to return, get to that return in that stairwell. So that's another possible fix, or install a high and a low vent here. That's less efficient, but that also may help to alleviate this return problem that we have up here in the second floor of this house. Taking a look inside this crawl space, and we have our air conditioning suction line right here being improperly held with these zip ties. Now these zip ties are not for this purpose. That can break, we can cause damage to that line, the line can drop. So we're going to recommend that the customer install proper strapping for this air conditioning suction line right here with these zip ties. Also, we see this flex ductwork here, which I don't like anyway, and that's being also held by a zip tie. The zip tie is not the correct installation here because it can compress and constrict the ductwork, and we can have less airflow through this flex ductwork here. So we're going to recommend that we install the proper nylon strapping, which is about 2 inches in width, to properly secure these flexible vents right running through this crawl space here. So a couple things that are easy fixes, but should be done just to help alleviate these problems. Back set of steps right here. Obviously no handrails and guardrails. We're over 30 inches up here, so we need some type of guardrail just to prevent child safety hazards. Any set of steps with 3 or more risers should have a proper handrail and guardrail set, just in order to help prevent injury. The landing here isn't the greatest. A landing should allow a person to stand comfortably in front of the door. This one is a little short. We're also going to mention that to the client. I mean, they're not going to rebuild these set of steps, but any information that you can bring to the client that's useful, especially regarding safety, it just enhances what we do as home inspectors and can just make for a better and safe environment for the customer. So that's something they may not know, and it doesn't take a lot of time to explain that, and I'm surely going to do that when they get here. Just taking a look at this water heater here, and I operated this water heater, hot water in the house, for maybe 5-10 minutes, something like that, and the pressure relief valve started to spew water. It started to leak. So this is a safety device. So if excess pressure were to build up inside this water tank right here, the hot water heater or the water heater, this would spew out water. It would help prevent basically an explosion or a rupture of this tank. So this started to leak. And the reason why it started to leak was that there's no expansion tank, which I did call out before, on top of this water heater, cold side inlet pipe. So cold water comes in here, and we should see an expansion tank, which looks like this tank here, which is installed on the boiler, very similar tank. And what that expansion tank would do, it would take up the excess pressure that builds up inside this water heater, and it would absorb that pressure, and that would keep this pressure relief discharge pipe from spewing out very hot and scalding water. So this is definitely a safety concern that should be fixed. So we need an expansion tank like this on this inlet right here, because this house has what we call a closed plumbing system. There is a pressure reducing valve on the main water line, which prevents this pressure as it builds up inside the water heater from going back, and it hits that wall, which is the pressure reducing valve. So that is why we always call for the installation of an expansion tank on all new or existing water heater installations, because most systems now are closed water systems, and to have a much safer installation, we should really have an expansion tank on top of the water heater. This is a rooftop in an urban area, new EPDM roof here, so that's a rubberized membrane. We have two scupper drains, one here and one there, but right here, we're going to get water collecting along this parapet right over here, this wall right here, because it's not being directed properly into the scuppers. There's not a slope here that's going to direct this water to the scupper drains. So when it does rain, we're going to get water collecting along this wall here. We don't want to have water collecting on a flat roof, because ultimately it will give and you will get leakage. So this is something that should be corrected. And, you know, sort of on the minor side of things, on this side of the roof here, we have this big puddle right here. That water is also not making it into these scupper drains here. It's really important that we keep these scupper drains clean and free flowing, just so we don't have any water collecting on this portion of the roof. But the sides of the roof here and over here are going to have to be corrected because they are improperly sloped, and we don't want to have any leakage in the building. This is a brand new, renovated, highly renovated building that we're looking at today. If you guys take a look at the box plate in this house, you see the box plate is covered with paneling, drywall here. This is a condition that is at a place. So normally you wouldn't find drywall against a box plate. You wouldn't find paneling against a box plate. So as a home inspector, we're always looking for this kind of cover-up situation. And what I want to do is pull some of these off in order to determine if there's problems behind here that this is covering up today. If you guys look closely here, this is an area behind a front porch. We see that it's completely rotted through right here. We'll see this in a lot of houses where water will enter behind the front porch, causing this damage. This isn't termite damage. It's too wet for that. This is probably some carpenter ant damage and most likely wood rot. Look over here too. Right behind the front porch. Same building, brand new building, and we see the bottom of this drip tray right here, this flood tray, under this condensing furnace right here is leaking. So these furnaces do put out a lot of condensation. That's how they reburn the products of combustion to be very, very efficient. But when we see this type of thing, it's a good thing we do have this catch pan, because we're going to be ruining the ceiling under this if we didn't have this pan. These pans are very, very important. So this is something that an HVAC technician is going to have to diagnose in order to determine the issue here with this condensation buildup in the catch pan. In this dishwasher, guys, here, you see this sort of staining all through here and inside. If we pull this tray out, all that discoloration and staining inside this dishwasher. So this is an indication of hard water, which is, you know, minerals in the water. that is causing this staining. It's also, hard water is really hard on piping, it's really hard on appliances, and you get really a much shorter life expectancy on appliances if you have hard water conditions such as this. So what we're gonna do is recommend to the client that they install a water softening unit just to help pull some of these minerals out of this water, convert our hard water to soft water, and this way they'll have the proper life expectancy out of their appliances. They'll be able to do their laundry more effectively. They'll create more suds in their, their showering, their laundry. It's easier on your skin, and definitely easier on your appliances. So hard water stains, look for that when you open up your dishwasher. About 15 minutes ago, I was running water to this sink. The valves on this kitchen sink are on fully, hot and cold. And now look, I got nothing. I got nothing at all. I got nothing over here at the water. This is a water filter. And this is an instant hot. So I have nothing, I have no water flow here, and I did not touch anything. I have no idea what just happened here. So, gonna have to look into this problem for sure. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I certainly appreciate it. I enjoy making these videos, of course. I love what I do. And remember, when you're looking for a home inspector, make sure you find one with plenty of experience, with thousands and thousands of home inspections under his or her belt. And remember, when you're looking at houses, stay empowered and keep your eyes open.